Hey guys, it is Mike with the Come the Night. Welcome back to another Song Suggestion Friday. This is the show where you guys put your suggestions in the comments below. I pull from those comments, I throw them into a poll on Patreon. If you would like to take part in that poll on Patreon, go to the link in the description, pledge $5 or more a month, and you can have access. The patrons vote on them, I take the top ones, I listen to them, I give you my feedback, my personal opinion, not the literal objective thoughts or isms of what these songs are. I grade them on my plus, equal sign, or minus sign. Plus sign means I would actively seek that song out again. Minus sign means I would actively avoid that song. Let's begin. Animals by Muse. Really subtle intro here. I love the bass tone up against the little guitar licks they got going on. Chord progressions with half steps moving in between. Just gotta love Muse. The guitar lick around 126 is super tasty. As a matter of fact, I think this is the best lead work I've heard from Matt, if this is indeed Matt doing the lead work. The melody throughout the song, even in the chorus, is very gentle yet still somehow poignant. It starts to build a little bit at 240 but doesn't raise it too much, and then just goes off until the end of the song at a constant crescendo that's very gradual and really excellent. They're even adding vocal harmonies at parts where you wouldn't have had them previously in the song, just to kind of build that emotion, build that tension. And then they just break out at around 338 with this really fat guitar riff and a great tone, a really interesting tone. It's not that heavy, but because of the way that it is EQ'd, the way that they sat down and dialed it in, it feels huge. Altogether, a great sonic experience. Total grade for this song, plus sign. Dreams of Retribution by Arch Enemy. Has a very pretty lead in the intro, backed up by some choir synth, like a bunch of different choir synth. Then they go into this awesome verse lick at 36 seconds. I would call it a riff, but it sounds more like a lead than it would a typical metal riff. It's really cool. The pre-chorus riff is cool, but it's nothing that really sticks out to me as something I want to listen to again, if in the sense that pre-choruses will typically be repeated, but it's more serving to set up the chorus as a good pre-chorus should. Now, the chorus is not bad, but it does not stand up to the verse, and I think it's because the chord progression in that chorus, to me, is calling out for a very powerful, demonstrative melody, and he just does the same kind of growly, screamy vocals over top the whole thing. And I will say, the vocals are good for the genre. They're not offensive, but they're not my favorite. The lead at about 3 minutes is very baroque, has a great tone, and then the lead immediately following that is wicked as hell. It's a great metal lead. The production all around is great as well. Big part of that is the way they recorded it. They captured it very accurately. Now the bass is a little buried in the mix, but that's to be expected. You can still get the low end of it and a little bit of the high end mixed in with the guitars. The sound spectrum itself is full and dynamic, and the composition and arrangement is solid. Total grade for this song, equal sign. I think I'm pronouncing this correctly. Quutamo by Apocolyptica. Has a jammin' intro, kind of late 90s, early 2000s new metal type of groove. That cello is golden. It's played great, it's recorded great, it's mixed great, just fuck, it sounds wonderful. The whole song is just kind of this really cool chug with a really nice, sweet melody over top of it. And it's also very interesting hearing cellos as the higher frequency in the soundscape in an entire production. Typically, you'd find cellos in the lower. The bass, guitar, and drums all kind of cover the low end, again with that chug. The song is very pretty, it's full of gravity, though I will say the chorus is just a little bit lacking to me. I feel like there was never an explosion in the song, and I think the chorus would have been the place to do that. If they would have layered the established melody of that cello with another register up, like another octave, or even just executed it more dramatically, more not staccato, but more mezzo forte. I think that could have gone a long way towards establishing that big explosion. Altogether, it was a great sound. It was actually quite pleasing. Altogether, no real complaints. I mean, it's just not necessarily my first flavor, though it's a very cool flavor. Total grade for this song, equal sign. Halo by Machine Head. Fat bass with a little bit of fuzz. Again, we're going with the late 90s, early 2000s feel here. And then they have these phaser guitars that come into the intro as well, and it's really interesting to play between the two. They're kind of countering each other. I wouldn't necessarily say as melodies, but I mean, very cool counterpoint. And that breakout riff is pretty fucking headbangable, man. The little harmonic they add in between that riff is awesome. I love that. The chorus is fucking fantastic. I absolutely love the guitar counter melody, which has a guitar harmony underneath of it, all underneath this soaring, excellently written and excellently executed melody for the vocals. I mean, the whole thing was very powerful. And as far as the vocals go, both the growls and the singing are quite solid. Sorry, I'm just literally shocked at how good that chorus was. It blew me away. The bass is very audible throughout the track, which is not something I would have expected, and actually is quite pleasing. Very solid production on this one. The tones they chose would not be my choices for tones, but they sound really good together. And the bridge at 4:15 is fucking brutal. Slightly sloppy, but not sloppy in the sense that like they couldn't play it. It's like adding feel sloppy. I was not expecting a lead in this song at all, and as a matter of fact, it starts out as a lead that feels really not that great, but at the same point goes along with the song, and then breaks out into this awesome fucking lead that has some like different guitar harmonies, and they go into guitar counter melodies and back to harmonies. Like it's really fucking cool. Highly dig that lead. Altogether fits the song great. This song has lots of dynamic, and even the outro demonstrates that as well. I mean, this song is just awesome, plain and simple. Total grade for this song, +. Orinoco Flow by Enya. Oh my god, my sister's wedding. All right, we need to take a second. Okay, so my sister was getting married, and this is a sister you guys haven't been introduced to yet. She was getting married on very short notice, so we didn't have a whole lot of time to plan the wedding. Well, by me, I mean my family, I wasn't included in the planning. So we had it at a hotel. There's like, you know, the whole deal. It was a nice reception, but they weren't able to lock in a DJ. So my dad brought a jukebox. If you guys haven't seen the video of my dad, let's just go to this link up here. So my dad brings a jukebox, or boombox, or the fuck it's called. Not a jukebox, a boombox, my bad. And he starts playing Enya. He has an Enya CD because he knows my sisters love Enya. And it's this album, and the first track is Orinoco Flow. And little did my dad know, and I mean, to be honest, my dad doesn't know how to fuck to work these things. It was on repeat. So it played Orinoco Flow for about 2.5 hours straight. Oh, I am probably more familiar with this song than most humans on this earth, possibly even Enya herself. It was kind of amazing, not gonna lie. Regardless, to the song. First and foremost, Enya has a very great sound palette. Her style is kind of taking interesting combinations of synth and different samples of different percussion and kind of mixing that all together and slapping on all the fucking reverb, all of it. If I had to put her sound into words, I would say water and air. One of the things I do love about this song is in the pre-chorus, there's kind of a harp sounding thing that does little arpeggios. That was always a favorite of mine. Always got me excited. And then it always let me down because it was just sail away, sail away. It's just like, no, I want something like ripping. I want something that's gonna tear it up. Though I will say this song builds a very great mild vibe. Enya's version of doing an explosion is still like very much like, The sound has a lot of emphasis on being very round and very wet. To this day, I have no idea what the fuck she says in any of her songs, to be honest. I've never understood the lyrics. It's just been fucking gibberish to me. And they do have a cool little beat in the chorus, but it's just too repetitive. Like, mix it up just a smidgen, please. The vocal harmonies doing fourths and doing octaves is actually pretty cool, because not a whole lot of people typically do that. Gives it a little bit more of a primal feel, and not primal in like the fucking black metal primal way like someone tried to fucking talk to me about in my own comment section. Like, Jesus Christ. But if I never listened to this song again, it would be far too fucking soon. However, I do not hate it. So total grade for this song, =. And Plague Flowers, the Kaleidoscope by, what the fuck are they called? Obliviscaris. While I am not able to pronounce this shit very well, let's get into the song. Awesome violin intro. The violin player shreds, backed by some beautiful guitar, very simple chugs in a more flamenco samba style, and it breaks out into full samba flamenco in just a little bit. That verse is very fucking cool. I shouldn't say it's a verse, because honestly it kind of just goes everywhere, and I think that samba feel is more just an intro altogether. I will say the violin got a little bit out of bounds, a little sporadic at parts, but I didn't hate it whatsoever. Absolutely love the arrangement and ensemble for that intro. And then it breaks out in the metal. I'm like, what the fuck? Where did metal come from? These guys were definitely influenced by Opeth. Between that tone and their chord choices and their rhythm choices, the articulation of the way they play those chords, very much Opeth. Not to mention the higher scream things that he's got going on. Yeah, definitely Opeth. And typically these type of growls like would probably bother me a little bit, but not that much. But after going through that whole intro and that sick ass violin and then breaking out into that awesome sound space, I was just like, yeah, I love it. I love it all. And how they made that violin work over top of that metal background blows my mind. I don't know how the fuck they did that. These drums would also typically be too extreme for me. I mean, extreme as in saying way too much, and by saying way too much, they say nothing at all. But they're literally supposed to be backing everything else up, and there's so much else going on in the sonic scape that's actually quite interesting. Between the violin kind of doing little things in the background, they got a clean vocal doing some cool shit in the background, interesting guitar chords and riffs. It says it doesn't even matter. At that point, I would rather the drums kind of fade into the back. Speaking of which, the clean vocals are excellent in this song. They start out in the background a little bit more to kind of fill in space, but then they get their feature a little bit later in the song, and they sound wonderful. The grind at 534 is fucking awesome. I also love the feel at 644, great chord, and then they kind of break out with an interesting guitar lead over top of it, and not a lead like a solo, it's a lead more like a melody. This is an example of the talent that never gets seen. It's so tasty, so colorful, so exciting, so rich, so emotional. It's just like, how the fuck can't people listen to this and get enriched by it? And you're just, God damn it. There's so much passion here. And I understand there are different genres that do the same thing but with a different flavor. But I mean, this is why we need to be loud voices. We don't need to be assholes. We just need to be loud and let people know it's there. Total grade for this song, 2+. That's Damn Rock and Roll by Eric Church. The lyrics are spot on, one of the few times I can actually understand lyrics on the first listen. It is not the mix or the tone of anything that I would have used myself, but I get what they're going for. It's supposed to be a simple, down-to-earth, basic rock and roll song, and that's what they did, and they accomplished it well. And also, by keeping it that simple, it allows the vocals to come forward, because as opposed to a lot of shit-ass pop and honestly some shit-ass rock songs, the vocals are very important in this song. Even on top of that, the vocals themselves are just mixed pretty hot in this song, and that's not a bad thing. And the chorus with the female harmony vocals is so fucking catchy. Like, that part was actually pretty awesome, gotta say. Powerful as hell. And what the fuck at 217? Holy shit. I was not expecting that at all in this song, but it was a great touch. It actually kind of was reminiscent of more of a rap side of things as far as the cadence of the lyrics. This song spoke to me, and you know, again, compare this to fucking Nickelback's Rockstar, and you tell me which one's more genuine. I'm waiting on your comments below, please. Total grade for this song, +. I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce this, so the title will be down this way. Has kind of a hardcore punk influence. It has these riffs that are built out of fourths that are odd but oddly work. The vocals just don't give a fuck at all. They're very effective at what they want to do, and they just throw it all in there. But at the same point, they actually don't sound terrible. They do sound solid. They sound controlled. Kind of compare this, if I had to make a comparison, like the Norwegian Dropkick Murphys. This song is pretty straight ahead. It's kind of like Motorhead in that sense. There's no surprises. It's just attitude. It doesn't get boring at any point, thankfully. The mix is great. You can hear everything very clearly. The bass is nice and round. The guitars are gritty. And the drums are pretty much just a classic mix for what you do for some rock and roll drums and some very loud cymbals. They definitely did that on purpose, and to their credit. Honestly, not much else. Total grade for this song, =. Agent Orange by Sodom. Very Pantera guitar tone, but the guitar riffs themselves sound more like Metallica or Armored Saint. The drums are very boomy. There's not a whole lot of tack on the kick or the toms. I think that has more to do with how they were recorded. The bass guitar is very low. There's not a whole lot of mid or high in it. Song starts going full thrash around 117, just kind of going for straight brutality. I am definitely not a fan of Sodom's vocals, I never have been. The tones that each of these instruments is going for are not very compatible. I'm pretty damn sure the mix on this is actually very good. It's just that they didn't have a whole lot to work with. None of the riffs or drum lines really stick out. It all kind of feels pretty stock thrash. The solo is shreddy, though not very tasty and a little sporadic. It's not a bad song. I'm just kind of past it. Total grade for this song, equal sign. A Statue of the King by Avatar. They have a very cool guitar panning trick at the intro of the song. Vocals sound pretty dang cool when they're doing the clean part. There's some kind of modulator on it. It kind of reminds me of Ozzy a little bit. The proceeding riff and chord progression is very cool. We're still in the intro, by the way. Now, the verse was a little jarring. I mean, it just kind of went from something that was kind of weird and fun and interesting into just straight like boom, boom, boom with growl vocals, and like sometimes that can work. In this case, I don't think it quite did, but I'm definitely digging the hell out of the choruses. They're weird, but they're fun. The mix was really good at the metal parts of the song. At the more clean parts, it felt just a little bit muddy, like there was a little bit too much effects on the guitars and the vocals. There's this groove at 240 in this song that is just fucking great. It's kind of like metal, punk, and rock and roll all mixed into one. And it's like, it's just, you just have a huge grin on your face. You're just gonna go like, but it's fucking metal. Like, it's kick-ass. And another note about the chorus, the harmonies added into the chorus, I think did a lot to bring up the whole sonic feel in this song. I mean, without that, I think honestly the whole song would have been a lot worse. Altogether, the song is quite fun. There's not a whole lot happening, but at the same time, there's like a bunch of shit happening. It never lets you be bored. Total grade for this song, equal sign. And now it is time for my suggestions. First suggestion this week is fucking Obliviscaris and Plague Flowers, the Kaleidoscope. That song was so fucking awesome. I highly recommend everyone listen to it. You've already heard my diatribe, go listen. My next suggestion is Silverlight by Evership. Evership is actually a local prog rock band here out of Murfreesboro, right outside of Nashville. These guys are very cool. They got a great classic prog sound, kind of more Kansas feel, a little bit of Boston. I would say there's a little bit of maybe Neil Morse or Porcupine Tree in there as well. Silverlight is definitely my favorite song on this album, and it's because it's the most high energy that they have. And not only that, but the groove on the guitars is pretty fucking cool. My last suggestion for you this week is Haunted Houses by Foxkeeper. This is also a local band, also happens to be full of people who are my friends. If there is anyone in this audience who likes indie pop, let me say this again. If there's anyone in this audience who likes indie pop, check out Foxkeeper, especially this song. This is by far my favorite song of theirs. I'm not a huge fan of indie pop, but I actually do like this song. Not only that, but you could hit them up on social media and give them your feedback. When I say give them your feedback, I mean actual critiques, not being a dick. Okay, you can be a little bit of a dick. That is it for Song Suggestion Friday. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave your suggestions in the comments below. If you would like to take part in the Patreon poll, please go to the link in the description. Pledge $5 or more a month and you can take part in that poll. If you're not able to do a rolling pledge and you still want to help out, I accept tips on PayPal, I accept tips in Bitcoin, or you can go to my merch store, link is in the description, and buy some cool motherfucking merch. And you can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter at Become the Night. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you in the next video. Rock on!